You know what the worst thing about aging is? It's not the fact that you can sleep wrong, meaning that you'll like lay down and fall asleep and wake up unable to move because a part of your body was just not in the proper shape or direction, and now you're just going to deal with pain for the rest of that day. It's not having to make wise decisions about what you eat because more than one slice of pizza or more than one fried chicken wing might ruin your day. It's not losing the ability to stay up past 11 p.m. and remain functional on a regular basis. Those things suck, but those things pale in comparison to watching your peers and friends and people in your age group that you love and respect turn into out of touch, hypocritical, and clueless conservatives. Don't worry, it'll happen to you. I am 41 years old, which makes me a geriatric millennial, one of the first of my kind. Millennials have a lot of distinctions. We came of age at the turn of the millennium. We saw 9/11 in our youth. Younger ones were watching the buildings fall while they were in grade school. We were children in a time before the digital revolution of media, meaning that we played outside but are still young enough to appreciate a good meme. But one thing that's not talked about for millennials is that we grew up with hip hop. Hip hop started in the late 70s, which means that youngest Gen Xers were kids when it was starting to gain traction, and older Gen Xers were teens, meaning they remember a time where hip hop didn't exist. But I don't have that. I was hearing hip hop as soon as I was born and reciting lyrics by grade school. By the time I was old enough to understand music culture to an extent, hip hop was becoming a dominant cultural force. And by the time I was old enough to appreciate that and indulge in hip hop, it was the 90s and the early 2000s, which is arguably hip hop's best era by a wide margin. Now, of course, I think that hip hop's greatest era was the 90s because that's when hip hop was for me. Today's hip hop in 2023 is not for me. But unlike a lot of other old heads, I don't think that this current modern rap landscape is automatically bad. In fact, if the next few years of hip hop match the same energy of the last maybe 7 or 8 years, like everything maybe after To Pimp a Butterfly to now and a few years going forward, I might have to rethink my opinion on when hip hop was at its best, because the culture around music is different, and I think it's missing some great elements that were there when I was younger. But the music itself is really good and has a variety that seemingly died for a moment in the mid 2000s until the mid 2010s. This is going to sound blasphemous to other old heads, but I've said it multiple times now. If you're not trying to pay attention to what's going on in hip hop beyond what you see on TikTok, you are truly missing out. But see, to my peers, the very idea of our legends like Nas and Jay-Z or LL Cool J or Dr. Dre being compared to, I don't know, Polo G, NLE Choppa, NBA Youngboy, YMW Melly, YMW Melly. I've never heard a song from any of these niggas. I couldn't pick none of these niggas out of lineup except for maybe NBA Youngboy, and that's just because he seems to be everywhere. Ed Lover had a great joke on a Math Hoffa podcast a little while ago about how you just have to put 3 letters in front of your name and get a trap beat and you're halfway there.
They don't give a fuck about nothing. All you gotta do is put 3 letters in front of your name, O-A-N-A. Oh, this nigga's with the O-A-N crew. They don't know what the fuck that shit means. Right. Mm-hmm. It's not about hip hop no more. It's about streaming, algorithms, and money.
But even that is not a new thing. Like, copycatting names is as old as hip hop. Tell that to Ice-T and Ice Cube and Vanilla Ice. Or how about Big Daddy Kane, Big L, Big Pun, Notorious Big, Big Gip, Big Pooh, Big Mo? I could probably keep going. There's nothing new under the sun. There's nothing new or bad about hip hop that wasn't new and bad about hip hop 20 years ago. Which brings me to why I made this video in the first place, which is because of the following TikTok.
You cannot convince me otherwise that Sexy Red is not an industry plant that was put here to help finalize the destroying of the black woman image. They was already had us under attack, and she was here to just finalize the process. The way they trying to force her on us is just crazy. Like, I wanted to go see Drake, but once I found out Drake had her opening for him, absolutely not. This is the reason why it's time to separate. It's time to separate as black women, because ain't no way I'm about to be associated with that and Suki Stankiana. Ain't no way. Ain't no way. I don't care how you feel. I don't care how you feel. At this point, separation has to happen.
I can't. I just can't. I'm not going to dig too much in on this. I've already seen some black feminist creators gather her up about respectability politics and the anti-blackness and the genuine lack of knowing history of how black women have been viewed and treated in the white supremacist society, etc. Shout out to Julesy on that one, by the way. What I want to do is explain just how wrong this is from a hip hop history perspective. To do that, let me read some lyrics for y'all real quick to make it all make sense.
No Nan Ho-wo, that sell more ass than me. You know Nan Ho, that'll make you come like me. Ninja, you don't know Nan Ho-wo, that Dawn tried all types of shit. Who quick to deep throat the stick and let another be a straight lick the cliff.
Who might that be, audience? If you guess Sexy Red, you'd be wrong. That's Trina from the club banger Nan way back in 1998. By the way, those lyrics were written by Trick Daddy, which makes some sense. All right, round 2. How about this?
I used to be scared of the stick. Now I throw lips to the shit. Handle it like a real bee. Heather Hunter, Janet Jack me, take it in the butt. Yeah, yes what?
Heather Hunter and Janet Jack me, by the way, are prominent adult film stars from the 90s who, if you were coming of age back then like I was, and you might recognize those names. All right, who you got? If you guessed it was Glorilla, you'd again be incorrect. That is Lil' Kim from Big Mama Thang in 1996. Okay, one more, except we will do a male rapper. All right.
Bend your ass on over and touch your toes. Hold your breath, cause I'ma hold my nose. This stick of mine ain't friendly, baby. Will it hurt you? Yes, maybe.
I'll give you a hint. It's a 3-letter rapper, actually. Just not one you've probably ever heard of if you're younger than 35. This was AMG, Not Too Short, which I'm sure some of you were thinking, from the song I Kid You Not named Bitch Better Have My Money, way back in 1991.
It ain't nothing like black pussy on my dick. Word to the motherfucking DJ quick.
But the twist is, he's actually not singing about being a pimp. This is a song about him being a hoe, or gigolo, I should say, and speaking to the quality of the services that he can provide with the tool between his legs. Some of y'all parents dance to this one. I've seen them recently. I heard this when I was maybe 9 or 10 years old. Hip hop has always had the capacity to be a raunchy, transgressive, and shocking musical art form, and anyone saying that hip hop is different now is completely full of shit, and clearly was either a lame who didn't partake in the culture when they were younger, or is a liar that is ashamed of what they did back then now that they're older. Need I remind you, there's a documentary on Freaknik in production, and many of your parents are shook. This is what's so frustrating, because I vividly remember how we, meaning people of my generation, said we would never, ever respond to future generations with the same conservative, judgmental nonsense that we got as kids. And yes, you can talk about the experience of aging and slowing down and getting a better perspective with maturity. I get you on that. But the thing to do with that is to be honest about the problems of the music and how you are a product and participant in it, not judge as if you don't know exactly how young people think and feel while they're listening to the music that's made for them in their generation. Everyone deserves a moment in life to be wild and debaucherous and loose moral. I had it, my parents had it, their parents had it, and I hate that we act like things are so different now, when truth be told, they're probably better. Like, could you imagine if there was social media or Instagram or phone cameras of some of the stuff that was happening in my youth and childhood? Someone made a good point that back in the day, the like real raunchy stuff was harder to find and consume. And I'll give you that. Like, to see as much ass as you can on social media right now, back in my day, you have to go to a concert or a festival or a strip club. And you never hear the really dirty stuff on radio, which is where everyone had to go to hear any popular music. While today with streaming, it's impossible to escape. I just figured out who the hell Sexy Red was. Like, I couldn't even have picked her out of a lineup over a week ago, but I'm pretty sure that her pussy pink and her booty hole brown. So that's saying something. Now, I definitely think that there are things to be concerned about in modern music and how it glorifies violence and sensationalizes sex work without considering how difficult and perilous real-life sex work is. And there are nefarious racist and capitalistic forces at play and how the music is amplified and sold to not just black people, but white people, and how this is exploitative. But this isn't new. In fact, it's the exact same problems from when we were kids. The things that I wish the older generation was more focused on, things that we need to be more focused on if we really care about the music and the children. Because pointing the finger at the youth in their art is putting the focus of any genuine concern on the wrong thing. I grew up on all the worst types of hip hop that parents hated. NWA, Snoop Dogg, Bone Thugs and Harmony, 2 Live Crew, Wu-Tang Clan, Cash Money, etc. And guess what? I've never had any issues with falling too far into the mythology of that music. I managed to stay out of trouble with the law, out of trouble in school. I got 3.5 degrees. Damn. Why? Because much like the overwhelming majority of consumers of gangster rap and hardcore hip hop, I'm not actually in that environment. I didn't grow up under that environment. The things that are being rapped about that were negative or wrong or bad for me did not have any tangible connection to me. Meanwhile, I have cousins who grew up on the south side of Chicago that listen to the exact same music, were just as smart as me, don't have the same outcome because their opportunity structure was very different. And are we going to talk about the fact that the vast majority of hip hop consumers are white people? And the white folks in trouble with the law ain't listening to NBA Youngboy. They're listening to Tim McGraw or Toby Keith or insert whatever small town country singer here, because their opportunity structure is fucked up. It's not the music, it's the society. The music is a reflection of the problems in society. By itself, rap music is not responsible for damaging black anything. And that is a stupid cop-out for people who want to grandstand and feel holier than thou, or maybe just have a viral TikTok or tweet that they know everybody's going to react to because they don't give a fuck about negative attention as long as they get attention. So here's me giving my pound of flesh for that problem as well. Going back to that Ed Lover moment earlier on the Math Hoffa podcast, I cringed at it a bit, but I think Ed really dropped wisdom and came from the overall right place, because at the end he pointed out that it's the elder generation's responsibility to craft the world they think that the kids need, and any failures of the youth is a reflection of our shortcomings as much as it is theirs.
Precedence over what music really is, what talent really is, that they should never stop making music. And I think that even if you reach out, even if they don't want to hear you, just reach out. You know, I love when I see young niggas grab older niggas and make music with them. But these younger niggas, sometimes they just don't do it because we didn't embrace them.
Yeah.
It's our fault.
Not just that, but a lot of the younger generation, they're coming up, and my parents were not good parents. They don't even trust adults.
Yeah, because they ain't have no guidance.
Right.
Well, that's a lot of that is the 360-degree circle that they gave our fathers and shit. They pump crack into our neighborhoods, and then like our fathers are for football years.
Right.
So yeah, Missy with your shortcomings and the pearl clutching. Once again, please elevate your analysis. And I'm not going to say touch grass anymore, because I know that's not as realistic for everyone to do that. But I think that everyone can benefit a little bit from some screen time breaks. I'm FD Signifier, and this has been Light Work.